Hey guys, it is March the 15th, 2025, and I hope everybody's been having a great weekend so far. It is a pretty overcast day here in South Carolina, and it looks like we are about to get some rain here really soon. So I figured I better get out here and film today's video. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon right now. I've just been really tired today. I was going to wait until a little bit later on to film this video, but I figured I'd better go ahead and knock it out, like I said, before this rain comes in. Otherwise, I would have been stuck filming inside the house, and I just did not want to do that. But what I want to talk about today is, that feeling of lack of happiness after getting sober. And that, especially alcohol, but this goes for any substance or any activity that we might be addicted to. And I think it is probably one of the most common things that I hear from people is just the lack of happiness, and the lack of feeling like life has a meaning after we get sober. And like I said, it is very normal to feel that way. I know for myself, especially in the beginning, I struggled with that a lot. And I've told this story before, but I'll never forget. It was like one of the first times that I had ever gone out anywhere after I got sober. We had taken both of our boys to one of those like trampoline jump around parks for the day. And this was like the first time I'd ever like really gone anywhere after I ended up in the hospital. It was about a month after I got out of the hospital for the first time. I did go to my daughter's graduation, but I was there for a very brief amount of time, and I ran out to the vehicle. I didn't run, but I went out to the vehicle and I had to sit in our car because I felt so bad. When my daughter graduated from high school, I had been out of the hospital for like a week. But like my next big adventure was going to that jump around park. It was on a Saturday, and like I said, I hadn't been anywhere like that since I had gotten out of the hospital. And it was a big deal for me to go do that. I remember I felt so fatigued, and I just remember struggling the whole entire day. Just being out in public like that. I remember my anxiety was really high. I just felt very uncomfortable. I don't know. It just didn't feel natural for me to be out like that and, not have alcohol in my system. This is the first time I'd really been anywhere like that and been sober. And I'm not kidding. I mean, every time that we went anywhere, I drank. And, this time here I am at a place that's super packed, it's super busy. There's kids everywhere. There's screaming and hollering going on. My anxiety levels are through the roof. I don't feel comfortable being around all these people. I remember there were like tables. There's like a little eating area in there, and my wife and I were sitting at one of those tables, and I just remember feeling like I was about to come out of my skin. I just felt so uncomfortable. But I made it through the day, and we got home that afternoon. I remember being really proud of myself for being able to make it through that. And, it was a really small thing, but it was a really big deal for me. And, like I said, for the rest of that summer, I just didn't feel very happy. Although I was excited. I was so excited about my new life and, getting into this new life of sobriety, something I'd never really experienced before. And here I was, just kind of thrown into it. Getting sober, I wanted to get sober for years. I just didn't know how to do it. And I tried so many times, and here I was, kind of thrown into sobriety. I didn't mean to get sick, and didn't mean to go through a medical detox in the hospital, although it did happen. And it's not something that I was like, I set myself up mentally to go through it. Like I said, I just kind of got thrown into it, and it was just very, very uncomfortable in the beginning. And the doctors were very clear with me too. They were like, if you drink again, you're going to end up right back in the hospital again. So I was determined to stay sober. That experience in the hospital was not a fun one by any means. It really scared me straight. And I did not want to end up back in the hospital again. So, I was willing to deal with whatever was thrown at me in order to stay sober. And, that's exactly what I did. But at the same time, like I said, I just didn't feel happy for a long time. As a matter of fact, I still wasn't feeling, like happy when I got sick again and ended up in the hospital that October. I think what really, shook things up for me is when I ended up in the hospital for the second time and I wasn't drinking. I realized the seriousness of the illness that I had. I didn't realize I had cirrhosis the first time I ended up in the hospital either. That wasn't disclosed to me. They didn't know. And I found out the second time I was in the hospital, and that's when they told me, we're going to let you go home and spend time with your family because you got about a year left to live. And it was after they told me that, that I had this short amount of time to live and that, I needed to make each day count, that I finally started to, realize how lucky that I actually really was to be here. And I started to really appreciate the time that I had. And, that really just kind of woke me up. And I stopped feeling sorry for myself and, started just, like I said, just really started trying to live in the moment because each moment counted for me. I mean, it really did. Every single day was important. And, it's not like when I got out of the hospital the second time that things were comfortable, because they weren't. I came home, had ascites really bad. Just things were very uncomfortable. But as uncomfortable as they were for me, I felt so much appreciation for this opportunity, for this second opportunity that I was given. And I started to, it's hard for me to put my finger on, but like I said, I just started to become appreciative, and I just wasn't as appreciative the first time that I got out of the hospital as I was the second time. And each day that I woke up in the morning was a struggle. But I just, I've told the story on here so many times, but, I just started setting goals for myself. And one of the first goals that I set for myself was I'm just going to get up and make the coffee every morning. And that was a huge deal for me. Just getting out of the bed and making coffee was not an easy task. But it started to bring happiness in my life because I started to see the little things and how important that they were. And something as simple as making coffee brought so much joy into my day. And then, I did that for a couple of weeks. I would get up in the morning and make coffee for my wife and I every single day. And I would tell my kids goodbye before they went to school. And then I remember I used to sit around all day long. I would lay in the bed all day because I was so weak and tired. And I felt so bad. But all day long, I just got so excited about when my wife and my kids would get home from work and school. And I waited all day long for them to get home. And, I told my wife that I wanted to start to try to make the kids dinner at night. And, very simple food, but it was a very big task for me. And I got so much excitement out of knowing that I was going to make dinner for the kids and that I was going to make dinner for my wife. And I was actually becoming a part of our household again. I wasn't just laying in the bed all day long with everybody doing everything for me, even to the extent of getting something to drink for me. I was actually becoming a productive member of the house again. And that brought a lot of joy into my life, being able to do that. And I think that when we first get sober, all that's on our mind in the beginning is how bad that we want to have a drink, or how bad that we want to use, or how bad that we want to go back to whatever that activity is. And it's on our mind. We just keep thinking about it all day long, pacing back and forth. If I could just have that drink, it sure would take these feelings away. And I'm just going to use myself here, is that I wasn't appreciative for the little things in my life, especially in the beginning. it wasn't until I was stuck laying in the bed all day long and was so sick that I had to use a walker to get up that I really started to appreciate those small things. And I think that just taking, the small things in our life and taking a second and being appreciative for them can really bring a lot of happiness into our life. I truly think it can. Just the small things, being able to just get up and go for a walk, and being appreciative for that, or being appreciative for the fact that, you have a job, or being appreciative for the fact that you have a roof over your head, or whatever it is, the blessings that we have in this life. Instead of thinking about how, man, my life sucks now that I can't have this drink, or my life sucks now that I can't use this substance, or my life sucks now that I can't do this activity. Being appreciative for all the small blessings that we have in our life. I just think that it's a huge part of bringing happiness back into our life. And, the thing is that even people that don't drink or don't use any substances or whatever, their life isn't like a cakewalk every single day either. Some days are good, some days are bad. We're not meant to be happy 24/7. And I think there's this misconception in our society that, we're supposed to be happy all day, every day, 24/7. And, we have these people out there on social media or on YouTube or whatever, they're pushing these agendas of, buy this book and you can gain happiness, or if you do XYZ, you'll get happiness. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. Like I said, I think that, we're not meant to be happy all the time. Some days are great and sometimes are bad. It's the bad that makes the times that we're happy, or the good times, it makes us really appreciate those times. And, the thing is too, is that there are so many things that are going on in your body when you first get sober. It's not just you and battling your own demons. It's not just that. There are a lot of things at play going on, especially in the beginning. When we first remove the substance, such as alcohol or a drug or an activity, our cortisol levels in our body start to go up, and they stay up for a time being, which can lead to us having those feelings of anxiety, stress, just an overall feeling of just blah. A lot of time it's because of those cortisol levels that have been elevated in our body when we stop using whatever it is. And I think that we have to take that into play as well. And over time, those cortisol levels in our body start to deplete, and we'll start to feel better overall. And those feelings of stress and anxiety will start to decrease, and we'll start to feel a little bit happier. But once again, I think there's this misconception in society that we're supposed to be happy 24 hours a day. That is not the case at all. It's, on social media or whatever, we see all these people smiling on the camera and their life's so happy and all this and that, and that's not true. At the end of the day, those people, they have bad times in their life as well. And I'll guarantee you that a majority of those people that are portraying this life of happiness all the time are probably really sad people. They just want to portray this image of being happy all the time, or their life is so grand and great. They've got problems just like anybody else does. It's all relative to our own lives. I was watching an interview not that long ago, and it was a very famous person, and they were talking about how, you see these people on Instagram, these big celebrities and stuff that portray this image of being so happy. He said those are some of the saddest people that he knows. And like I said, I just think that part of it is, I think social media and just, entertainment in general gives us this idea that, that our life is supposed to be so happy and everything when it's not. Like I was saying, that we're not built to be happy 24 hours a day. It's just not possible. And we're going to have good days and we're going to have bad days. And, we just have to be thankful for the good days. And when the bad days come, it's just a bad day. And, if you get that feeling like, you're having a bad day and the alcohol or whatever it is will fix it for you, it's not. It's just a temporary Band-Aid that's, you're gonna put on that, and it's, you might feel better for a couple of hours or maybe for that day, but tomorrow you're gonna feel bad again. You're trading today for tomorrow feeling bad. At some point, you're gonna have to pay the piper. I mean, that's just the way it works. And, if you just can hang in there for that day and just hold tight, maybe tomorrow will be just a little bit better. And also on top of that as well is that, when we've been drinking or using whatever the substance is, our dopamine levels in our brain have been elevated for long periods of time. We get these spikes in dopamine every time we drink or every time we do an activity, like if it's food that, that you're addicted to. Every time that you eat that food, you get a spike in dopamine. Or every time you use that drug, you get a spike in dopamine. It's our reward system. It's our brain telling us, thank you so much, good job, we got that. And it's that great feeling that we get. When we remove the alcohol or whatever that substance is, we're not getting those spikes in dopamine like we were anymore. And, the thing, we've been flooded by dopamine. And depending on how long you've been drinking or using or doing whatever the activity is, who knows how many years you've been getting these spikes in dopamine. And when you remove that activity or that substance away, well, no more spikes in dopamine anymore. And we get this feeling of just blah all the time. It takes a little bit of time for us to start getting those natural dopamine boosts again. To where, just something very simple might give you a spike in dopamine. Maybe just sitting down and watching a good movie with a good friend will give you a nice spike in dopamine. Where right now, if you just quit drinking, your body your brain has been so used to these spikes every single day. Every time you drink, you get this huge spike in dopamine. And now it's like, what's going on here? I'm not getting any dopamine at all. And your brain's going haywire. It doesn't know what to do. Just give it some time. Eventually, your dopamine levels will reset in your body. Your cortisol levels in your body will finally start to lessen, and they'll start to reset and get back to a natural level. Your hormone levels in your bodies are all out of whack when we're drinking or using. Your hormone levels will get back where they're supposed to be again. And that feeling of happiness will start to gradually return. And you'll start to get those dopamine spikes from normal things again. Maybe going to a baseball game your kid's in, or going to the bowling alley and playing in bowling. I don't know how you even say that. And playing bowling or something. Maybe going fishing. Or maybe just spending time with a loved one will give you that spike in dopamine. But right now, especially in the beginning, when you remove whatever it is, your body is really it's going into an attack. It doesn't know what to do. Like I said, the cortisol levels are high, your dopamine levels are low, your hormone levels are all out of imbalance. All this stuff takes time. And with that said, exercise can play a huge role. I got a bug just flew right in my eye. Exercise can play a huge role in getting those cortisol levels back down, to give us dopamine spikes. We can get a nice dopamine spike just for going for a walk or working out for just a little bit at the gym or whatever it is, however you like to work out. But it really can help give us a dopamine spike and help lower those cortisol levels in our body. Not only that, but getting proper sleep every single night is so important to keep those to keep those dopamine spikes happening, and also to keep those cortisol levels back down. We have to get proper sleep, and in order to get proper sleep, a lot of times we got to wear ourselves out to do so. Another reason why exercise is so important: getting out in the sun, getting vitamin D, doing whatever kind of workout that you can fit in, and wearing yourself down a little bit. Maybe trying to drink a little bit of chamomile tea or some passion flower tea or something like that to help you sleep at night, or taking melatonin. Magnesium is really good for that kind of stuff. Just taking vitamins. And not only that as well, but making sure you're hydrating yourself properly. Dehydration can lead to all kinds of issues as well. We want to make sure that we're hydrating, drinking plenty of water, and on top of it, but last but not least, is eating a proper diet. Making sure that you're eating enough protein, you're eating fresh, organic vegetables, just eating a proper balanced diet, and probably taking vitamins. Your vitamin levels and nutrients and minerals in your body are probably depleted. When we are heavily in our drinking addiction, we're not eating right. I know I didn't eat right. I've spoken to so many people on this channel who don't eat properly or didn't eat properly as well, because we want that empty stomach when we go to drink. And a lot of times when people are using drugs as well, they don't eat right either. They take a pill or something like that. There's a bunch of food in their stomach. It's not going to absorb correctly. It's going to slow the absorption rate or whatever it is, and we just don't eat right when we're in active addiction, just altogether. We're too busy trying to score or, get our alcohol or our substances. We're just not eating correctly. And we're probably spending all of our money buying whatever it is that we abuse, opposed to spending money on a proper diet. So a lot of the times, when we're in active addiction, I would say most of the time, we have depleted vitamin levels in our body, probably B vitamin deficient, B12 deficient, which, helps with our energy regulation in our body, vitamin D deficient. There are all kinds of, vitamins that we're probably depleted in, and we need to make sure that we're taking our vitamins, eating a proper diet. And that includes making sure you're getting plenty of fiber. And like I said, fresh, organic vegetables. Organic is so important. Or making sure that you're washing your vegetables really well. And if we're getting that proper diet, we're taking our vitamins like we're supposed to, we're working out as much as we possibly can, that we physically can get in. I understand if you've got an injury or if you're really sick right now, because, I dealt with that as well. I got up and did what I could. I've talked about this so many times on here, but I got one of those little sticks that has little clamps on the end, and I had a 5-gallon bucket, and I was too afraid to walk too far from my home. So I just walked around my yard for a couple hours every day with one of those little pickup sticks and picked up pine cones. They didn't need to be picked up, but it just gave me something to do. And I got outside, got fresh air, got fresh sunlight, got vitamin D, and I was up and about, and it just made me feel so much better about myself when I was able to get up and do things, just like getting up and making the coffee in the morning, or just like making dinner for my kids at night. It made me feel better about me and who I was, which overall led to my overall happiness and an increase in that as well. So, like I said, when we first stop, there are a lot of factors involved in our happiness. And when we give it just a little bit of time, and if you have tried doing all these things and you're still having problems with your happiness overall, maybe it might be time to speak to a doctor if it's been, a really long period of time. But I think that, like I said, it was months for me before things got back to somewhat normal. And I would say probably about 8 months before I really started to feel kind of normal again. I had a lot of other things going on in my life. I probably would have been able to expedite that a little bit quicker if I wasn't as sick as I was and dealing with going to the hospital and ascites and all that kind of stuff. I laid in the bed for months. If I was able to get up and do a little bit more, maybe that would have improved a little bit quicker. I really think it probably would have. But just give it time. I think that if you give it time and try to eat that proper diet, try to work out the best you can, try to get the most sleep that you can every night. And I know it's really hard in the beginning. It's super difficult when we first stop to go to sleep. I totally get that, but trying to take like a hot bath right before bed, raising your body temperature right before you go to sleep, and I can really help you go to sleep. Trying chamomile tea, passion flower tea, eating a nice solid meal at night, working out every day, going for a walk before bed, something like that. I mean, there are a lot of ways that we can try to get better rest. But with that better rest, with that better diet, with proper exercise, whatever you can fit in, and giving it a little bit of time, I think you'll start to see that happiness will start to come back. And like I said, it's not natural to be happy 24/7. It's just not. We're going to feel happy some days, and we're going to feel sad some days, or we're just going to feel just kind of blah some days. But overall, I think you're just going to get an overall better feeling of just happiness. If you just give it a little bit of time, I think it eventually will come back for you. So, guys, with that said, I just wanted to share that little bit of information today, and just say that, I think that it will come back over time. It just takes a little while, and we need to get our body back in a normal state again. We need to get back to a state of homeostasis. And when we get back there, I think that those feelings of happiness will start to come back to us. So, guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope everybody has a great rest of their weekend. Don't forget about the Buy Me a Coffee. I'll throw up the link right here. And I'm also going to throw up the people that have donated from yesterday to today. And guys, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the donations. I really do. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. I hope everybody has a great night tonight. And until tomorrow, I will see you then. I love you guys so much.